I'm your host, Joel Perez, and you're watching Wrestling with Politics. And today I'm going to be at least attempting to explain to you why I voted for somebody who describes himself as a socialist, why I voted for somebody who might just become the next mayor of New York City. I'm going to be attempting to explain to you why I voted for Zohran Mamdani this past June in the New York City mayoral primary. And as a young voter myself, I'm not the only one. Hundreds of thousands of other New Yorkers decided to break the mold, and they decided to go ahead and push the lever for Zohran Mamdani. And this is quite frankly unprecedented in New York City. I didn't see this coming at all personally. I'm used to living in a New York City where the most corrupt, where the most horrible person always gets the way. And New York City almost always, in my personal experience, tends to make the wrong decision when it comes to electing leaders. They only tend to elect leaders who sell out New York, who sell out New York to the highest bidder, who give this place away to corporations. And nobody wants that. And that reason right there is exactly why Zohran Mamdani found so much success, because he didn't give New York away to the corporations. He didn't run promising to serve some foreign country, as so many of his opponents were diehards and seemed to not be able to get one sentence across without declaring their diehard support for Israel. Unlike those candidates, Zohran Mamdani said that he would put New York first. That appealed to me, that's for sure. And that's why Zohran Mamdani this past June was able to win. He was able to beat Andrew Cuomo, who was promising to put Israel first. And that is what made Andrew Cuomo lose, because instead of promising anything to New Yorkers, Andrew Cuomo promised nothing, and his record was already bad enough as it stood. So that's one of the reasons I voted for Zohran Mamdani, because I wasn't going to stand to have another Andrew Cuomo, another Eric Adams, another corrupt establishment Democrat official. We don't need any more of that. And I was tired of it. And I was willing to vote for another Democrat, which I haven't done in a very long time, which I haven't done since the man who got me into politics, Andrew Yang, got me to vote for a Democrat. So it's been a very long time. I swore to myself that I would never vote for a Democrat again, but I decided to throw in my opinion into their primary, maybe see if we could switch things up a little bit, because Zohran Mamdani seemed like exactly that kind of candidate, the candidate who would switch things up. Maybe he's not the everything that he says he's gonna be, but damn it, as long as he's not what Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams are, that's gonna be quite enough for me, to be quite frank. And as long as he delivers on some of the promises that he's promising, things like free buses in New York City, things like freezing the rent for millions of New Yorkers, which is something that, quite frankly, New York needs, because the rents don't stop skyrocketing. It never stops going up. So to put a freeze on the rent, it would be a substantial policy, and maybe Mamdani's not going to deliver on these things. But guess what? He promised them. Now I can hold his feet to the fire and make sure he delivers on it. And if he promises to stay in New York like he said he would, then guess what? I should be able to find him somewhere in New York City and hold his feet to account, look him eye to eye, and personally tell him exactly what I think about the job that he's doing as New York City mayor. That's not something that I was going to be able to do with Andrew Cuomo. It certainly hasn't been the case over the past 4 years with Eric Adams. And that kind of accessibility to a politician, that's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for, because you might not be the Hail Mary. I'm not thinking with any of these politicians that this is going to be the savior and the answer to all our issues. The only way that we can get the most out of our politicians is if we hold their feet to the fire ourselves. So unless we do that, these politicians are going to play all sorts of games with us. They're going to drag us through the mud, and we're going to end up in a world quite like the one that we live in right now. Things are too expensive. It doesn't make sense why at every single instance you're getting screwed over, you're having to hand over more and more money. People are tired of it, and the corruption of all these politicians. That's why this keeps on happening. And perhaps with Zoran Mamdani, we can get some kind of change. But I am willing to acknowledge here that we could be, in a lot of ways, be getting sold a bill of goods when it comes to Mamdani, because, and this is my biggest concern with Zoran Mamdani, the fact that he's been endorsed by AOC. And AOC, as we know, she promised a lot of things coming into her office. She promised a lot of things going into Congress. She was talking about Medicare for all. She was talking about a Green New Deal. She was talking about this. She was talking about that. But she delivered on absolutely none of it. She ended up being a complete sellout. And she ended up putting the interest of the Democratic Party above the interest of the constituents and the people who voted her in. And that could be exactly the case with Zoran Mamdani. If Zoran Mamdani is in the AOC and Bernie Sanders, if he's in their camp and he's a sellout, then guess what? I don't want nothing to do with Zoran Mamdani. But if Zoran Mamdani is genuine, and we're going to find out if he becomes New York City mayor, well, then I'm willing to give him a shot. And I'm willing to hold his feet to the fire and see if he's going to sell out or not. Because at least in the present moment, he's a better option than Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams, two people who, for certain, there's no question about it, are going to leave New York in the dust. And they're not promising any type of policy that's going to radically transform New York the way Zoran Mamdani is. So at least we can take his word and use it against him. And the final point here is this, and this is the final reason that I ended up voting for Zoran Mamdani. It's not because he's a Democrat. I don't trust Democrats and I don't trust any of these politicians. But at the end of the day, Zoran Mamdani, like I said in the beginning of this video, he promised to put New York City first. We're done with these politicians who are promising to put the Zionist lobby and who are promising to send our taxpayer dollars overseas to a country that has nothing to do with us, that does not represent us, and even Jewish New Yorkers who voted in the majority for Zoran Mamdani, they seem to understand that they're tired of this. It doesn't make any damn sense that we vote for these politicians to be the mayor of New York City, yet Andrew Cuomo wants to talk like he wants to be the mayor of Israel. So guess what, Andrew Cuomo? You want to go be the mayor of Israel? You can go be the mayor over there. We do not want you over here. Go be the mayor over there. Have fun in Israel. Go vacation in Israel. We don't want you in New York City. You can get out. We'll take the socialist. We'll deal with the consequences. It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, New York City, it needs a wake-up call. It needs a kick in the ass. And I'm tired of all these people who want to pretend that just because Zoran Mamdani won, it's over for New York City. Let me newsflash, but it's been over for New York City. It's been a dump. It smells like trash. Everything costs too much. Everywhere is too expensive. Things are messed up, and they've been messed up for a very long time. What we need right now is somebody who's going to come in and actually try to fix something. Somebody who's going to come in and take on these corporations that have taken everything over and that have absolutely decreased the quality of life for everybody living in New York City. The whole problem with New York City, you have one of the richest cities in the world. You have all this wealth. You're surrounded by so much wealth, but nobody who lives in New York, besides a very small few, is actually participating in that wealth. And that's a big, big problem. So maybe I agree more with Zoran Mamdani than I think. He says there should be no billionaires. I agree with that. So there's a lot to unpack here when it comes to this New York City election coming up. And I hope you guys stick with me for the ride because I have a lot more to say. And I know that what I just said, you guys should probably have some things to say back. So hopefully you do. If you like what you just heard, make sure to stay tuned to Wrestling with Politics because we're going to be coming at you live in real time, 200 miles per hour. There's going to be no stop. It starts now. Get on the ride. Make sure you like, Make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.